Alright, let's see how fast I can film this so I can turn my fan back on. Hi there friends, if you're new to my channel, my name's Nicole and I'm here today to talk to you about the 10 best shows that I've seen thus far in 2018. I've decided I'm going to stick to 5 plays and 5 musicals, but because it's already the end of July, which is insane, I decided I wanted to go ahead and talk about what I've seen this year. I've seen over 50 shows. I'm not positive on my actual count right now, but I think we're somewhere in the 60-65 range. And so I wanted to go ahead and reflect on this so that partially whenever I'm doing my best shows that I saw in 2018 video at the end of this year, I have this to look back on and help me remember what I had liked at this point. I actually sat down to film this a couple of hours ago, didn't realize that my camera battery was running so low, and it died. So we're back again now. I'm filming this in advance of it going up because my family is coming to visit me here in London, and so I'm pre-filming some videos, so if I look the same in a couple of videos, that's why. But that way I can schedule them to go up so that you guys don't miss getting a video from me on my regular upload day, but I also don't have to take time out of my family being here to worry about any of this. So for this, I'm not counting anything that I also saw in 2017. So there's some stuff that I saw in 2018, like The Woman in White and Les Mis and Kinky Boots, that were definitely some of my favorite things that I've seen this year. But because they weren't new to me in 2018, I'm not including them. So it's basically only shows that I saw for the first time in 2018. That's also why I decided not to include the Bright Star US tour, which I saw. It's the only show that I've seen not in London this year thus far, because it's basically a replica production of the show, which I did see on Broadway a couple of years ago. So I thought better just to stick to my rule and not include it. But let's go ahead and get started. I thought that I would start with plays, and to anyone who's followed my channel for a while, or any of my friends who are watching this, it will not surprise you at all that one of my favorites is The York Realist, from the Donmar Warehouse. If you don't know The York Realist, it's a play by Peter Gill. It's set, I believe, in 1960s up in the north of England in York, and it's about this man who's a farmhand and his relationship with this young director guy who's come up from London, who, you know, works in theater, and it's really a family drama in many ways. It involves the guy's mother and his sister and her husband and their son and the neighboring woman, Doreen. But it's a beautiful piece. It broke my heart. I cried every time I saw it because I saw it several times. If you don't know, I'm interning at the Donmar Warehouse right now, and I've been there since January. The York Realist was one of the first shows that was on while I was there, so it does also hold a special place in my heart for that. But everything about the production was insanely good. The set was gorgeous. It had like a full working kitchen in it. It was directed by Rob Hasey, who's one of my favorite directors of all time, and it had the gloriously wonderful Ben Batt and Jonathan Bailey and Leslie Nichols in it, and I'm still so shook over how much I love this show. I wish that I could see it again. I wish that I could bring everyone to see it. I love it. The next show I actually saw rather recently, which is the Lieutenant of Inishmore, which is currently on at the Noel Coward? Yeah, it says right on there, which is a Michael Grandage production. If you don't know the Lieutenant of Inishmore, it is a kind of dark comedy satire about terrorism. It's about this man who's in the INLA, which is a splinter group from the IRA in Ireland, and he's kind of crazy. He's very violent. The show itself is incredibly bloody. It's very gory, but it's done kind of almost in a joking way, so like, I don't think it's that bad to sit through. Like, I don't find it as hard to watch as something like Coriolanus, which is bloody, but it's very much in earnest. This current production has Aidan Turner, who you might know from the TV show Poldark, in the lead role, and he is glorious. He is just so charming but dangerous at the same time. It blows my mind. I have never laughed that hard in a theater, and it's the kind of thing where it's so funny but it's dark humorous and you feel kind of bad for laughing because like there's a cat being killed, but it's funny, and I am definitely going to see it again. I'm telling all my friends to go see it. I think it's a beautiful production, so if you are in London or you're going to be in London, you can see it right now. Another great thing about Michael Grandage shows is that they do keep, I forget how much, but I think it's like 25% of the house at £10. So you can either get day seats or kind of buy tickets further back. So that's a really great way to see it, and another reason that I'm really fond of the production. I will also say that I think just about everything in here I either have a review on my blog or on Broadway World UK, and I will put links to all of those down below if you want to know more about the show or the specific production that I'm talking about. My next play is The Play That Goes Wrong, which I saw in the West End with my friend Alex whenever he came to visit. So we went and saw it for his birthday. It is currently running on Broadway through January, I believe, and it's also on a UK tour right now, and I love it. I thought it was hilarious. I'm not typically one for comedies, except for dark comedies like Lieutenant of Inishmore. I'm much more of a drama person and a musicals person, but I fell in love with the show. It's so funny. It's kind of about this like ragtag acting troupe who are putting on this murder mystery play, but everything's going wrong. Actors don't know their lines, actors are getting injured, and people have to fill in. The set itself is falling apart. It's got some of the most incredible special effects that I've ever seen in a theater, and I highly recommend going to see it, especially like if you have, you know, if your family wants to go see a show, or if you have people who are in town visiting you and they want to see something. I think it's a really nice choice for that, because I don't see how anyone could not enjoy it. Moving onwards, I'm trying to keep this swift because I have a lot to talk about. This is my program from the Rada summer shows. I saw all 3 Rada summer shows. If you don't know, my best friend Rhiannon goes to Rada. And I went to see all of their shows in this most recent set, and I saw Journey's End. Now, I am a World War I fanatic. I love learning about World War I. I love, you know, art set in or written during World War I. So I don't know how I'd never seen Journey's End, either the play or the film of it, but I was entranced. I thought the Rada production was absolutely beautiful. The acting was great. The set was really cool and kind of immersive. I just thought it was fantastic. I really now want to see a proper production set in World War I, because this production was set in kind of like modern day Middle East, which I thought worked really well though. If you don't know it, it's kind of a drama set during the war about a set of officers and kind of what they're dealing with mentally, and also it deals kind of with what they would call at the time shell shock or PTSD, but it also deals with one of the new officers into the group is kind of like a childhood friend from back home with one of the other ones, and what that relationship is like and the kind of stress that that puts on the officers there. Okay, so I had finished filming this video when I looked up, and turns out I hadn't restarted the filming whenever I had gotten up to do something. So we're doing it again. Filming is not going well for me today, guys. I've had to put my hair up because it is so flippin' hot in here, but we're soldiering on through. I think I was talking about Red, which is the last of my favorite plays that I saw this year. It's another Michael Grandage production. It is a beautiful piece of theater at the Wyndham's currently, starring Alfred Molina, who was in the original production at the Donmar Warehouse and in it again on Broadway, and currently starring Alfie Enoch in it as well. It is a story about Ken Rothko, the modern artist, and his assistant Ken, his fictional assistant Ken, and it kind of really questions what art is, what art means, what the purpose of art is. And I think that anyone who's working at all within the arts industry should see it, kind of required viewing. It made me question things that I believe about art and really kind of stretched my mind about it. I saw it on press night. My review for Broadway World is up. I'll link it down below, as I said before. And it's actually a quote from It's on the Side of the Wyndham Theater, which is very exciting. But I actually went to see it with my friend Rhiannon recently because I wanted her to see it and I wanted to see it again. And it's just stunning. Like, it's a stunning piece of art. If you ever see a production near you, out of all of these, honestly, it's the one that would be like, go. Just go. It's so worth it. It's so cool, like, because they're painting the canvases, and God, it's just, this is the kind of art that I aspire to be a part of making. So that is it for plays. Moving on to musicals now. The first one will surprise no one who's been around here for a while. It's The Grinning Man. I'm obsessed. I saw it 6 times in 2018. I love The Grinning Man more than most things in life, honestly. It is a stunning show. If you don't know it, it's based on a novel by Victor Hugo called The Man Who Laughs, about this boy who's his face has been disfigured when he's a child, and he's been adopted by this man. He's kind of trying to figure out what happened to him, who did it, who he is, and it's just brilliant. It has puppetry done by some of the same people who worked on War Horse. I would describe it kind of as Great Comet meets War Horse meets Phantom of the Opera. It was kind of a, I'd almost say semi-immersive production. They used a lot of space out in the house. It was so beautiful. My friend Rhiannon and I, again, we fell in love with it, and God, the cast was so talented. I mean, Louis Maskull was a revelation as Grimpain. He has some of the best vocals I've ever seen in theater. It was one of the most intriguing, interesting characters I've ever seen on stage. I really, really hope that it comes to Broadway or off Broadway at some point in the future, because I think it's the kind of show that deserves a second life after its run here at the Trafalgar Studios in London. I actually just today, on the day that I'm filming this, got my CD of it in the mail. I'm so impressed with myself that I'm doing something other than listening to that CD right now. But if you are watching this, unfortunately it's no longer on at the Traff, but I think the Bristol Old Vic do have some CDs left on their website, so do check that out if you're interested in it. I don't have words for how much I love this musical. This musical is one of the top 10 shows I've seen in my entire life, easily. Probably even top 5. The next show I want to talk about is The Light Princess, which I didn't see a full stage production of. I saw it in concert at Cadogan Hall with Rosalie Craig and Hadley Fraser and actually Louis Maskull from The Grinning Man and Gabrielle Brooks and Trevor Dion Nicholas and this insane cast. The Light Princess is this beautiful, unconventional feminist fairy tale, and it ran at the National Theatre a couple of years back, directed by Marianne Elliott, I believe, and from the photos it looks like it was an insane production. But I've been listening to the cast album for the past couple of days on Spotify, and I finally caved last night and bought it on iTunes, and I'm in love. The music is so interesting and different, and it's just beautiful. Like, I would highly recommend checking it out on Spotify, and I really hope that a production comes to the States at some point because it is just a gorgeous show. The next show I want to talk about is actually another Rada production. I saw Assassins at Rada early in 2018 and fell absolutely in love with it. I know that this is blasphemy, but I'm not actually a huge Sondheim fan, but I love Assassins. I mean, obviously, as an American, as someone who studied history in undergrad, it's really relevant to my interests, and I just thought that it was brilliant. I thought the production that they put on was brilliant. The whole cast were insane. The set was really cool. I would love to see a production back on Broadway, a revival of it. Maybe not right now. Maybe it's not the best political climate for it, but I think within a couple of years. I went to this Q&A with the cast after the production that I saw, and now whenever I meet people at Rada, sometimes they're like, oh my god, you're the girl from the Assassins Q&A, because I said a couple of things that made it sound like I sympathized with the Assassins in the musical. If you don't know, it's about like all the people who either did or tried, or the main people who did or tried to assassinate the President of the United States. I wasn't saying I'm going to kill Trump in any way, shape, or form, but I can see where it kind of sounded like I did. And so now that's what I'm known as, at Rada. The girl from the Assassins Q&A. I've been called worse things. The next show I want to talk about is The Rink, which I saw at the Southwark Playhouse with my friend Julie when she came down. I'm going to be really honest. I didn't think I was going to like The Rink. I was going to see it because Caroline O'Connor, who you might know from the movie Moulin Rouge or from the Broadway musical Anastasia, was in it, but I fell in love. By the end of the first act, I was like, oh my god, how is this so good? It's kind of a family drama, really, set in an old roller skating rink. But it's really a story about relationships between mother and daughter, father and daughter, couples, and it's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking. I laughed, I cried. It's also got some incredible, like, spectacle numbers with roller skates, because it is set in an old skating rink, and it's just a beautiful show. I really hope that it transfers to the West End or to Broadway. I'd rather it transfer to Broadway, because that's where I'll be, because I think that it's, again, the kind of show that deserves more life outside of what it's had thus far. The last show that I'm going to talk about that I've seen thus far in 2018 is Heathers the Musical. Now, I have fallen head over heels for Heathers. I was aware of it because there was a production off-Broadway a couple of years back with Barrett Wilbert Weed, but they have redone some of it. They've written new material. They're currently in the process of actually reworking it more for this production at the Other Palace, which is transferring soon to the Theatre Royal Haymarket in London, which I'm very excited for. I saw it in the first couple of weeks of its run at the Other Palace, and I do have a ticket. It will be the last show that I see in London before I move back to the States. If you don't know Heathers, it is based on the cult classic film with Winona Ryder and Christian Slater, which is about a girl named Veronica Sawyer who's in high school. She falls in with this clique of girls called the Heathers, and it's kind of about popularity and what it's like to be in high school, and also Veronica's relationship with her boyfriend JD, who is a bit on the violent side and isn't very fond of his classmates, let's just put it that way. But it's got amazing music, it's hilariously funny, and I think that it deals with a lot of issues that kids are dealing with today in high school and university, like bullying and trying to fit in and suicide and things like that it deals with it with humor in a way that I think makes it more relatable for people, but it also deals with it with a great deal of grace, I think, actually, and it has a really beautiful message. The score is fantastic. This current staging is phenomenal. I mean, as you can tell, I love it. I think Heathers is amazing. I keep playing the lottery because even though I have a ticket to see it at the Other Palace, at the Haymarket, I want to see it again at the Other Palace. So those are my top 10 shows that I've seen thus far in 2018. I'm really curious to see how many of these are going to make it through to my top 10 shows of 2018 overall that I will film in December. I know The York Realist and The Grinning Man at least are going to be topping up that list again. I'd love to know if you guys have seen any of these shows, and I'd especially love it if you would leave in the comments down below your top 10 shows or top 5, or if you can narrow it down to top 3, I'd be very impressed. Shows that you've seen thus far in 2018, because I'd love to get a conversation going about that. I also will leave links to my social media and to my blog in case you'd like to find me other places on the internet. If you would give this video a thumbs up, that would make my day. Makes me very happy. I think it also helps with the YouTube algorithm. Not really sure how all those technical things work. And if you're not subscribed to my channel already, do click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any theater content coming at you every weekend. And other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye! Did I actually film this time?